Welcome in to the Fun Astrology and Merriman Market Analyst Saturday Financial Podcast from Lord Jupiter. I'm Thomas Miller. Thank you so much for joining us. This, of course, is a free weekly newsletter that we do every Saturday, published on MMAcycles.com by financial analyst and astrologer Ray Merriman. This is for the week beginning February 10th, but obviously we look back before we look forward, and starting with a news article from the Wall Street Journal, the United States economy added 143,000 jobs in January, and the unemployment rate edged down to 4%. The gain in jobs marked a drop from November and December and was less than the 169,000 jobs that economists had expected for January, according to a Wall Street Journal survey. But the jobs counts for November and December were revised upward by a combined 100,000. The unemployment rate was below the 4.1% that was expected. And now, straight in to Ray's comments, he says it was another chaotic week with sudden, somewhat sharp reversals in many financial markets. This is typical during the sun sign of Aquarius, and especially in the midst of powerful Uranus signatures. The prior week witnessed the new moon in Aquarius on January 29th, followed by Uranus turning direct January 30th. Friday, February 7th, was a Gemini moon day with the sun in Aquarius or an air-air combination. That can be volatile, especially on Friday with the monthly payroll report coming out. As if choreographed by the Cosmic Corridor, the United States stock indices made the weekly highs on Thursday and Friday and then sold off sharply into Friday's close. Gold and silver did likewise. On the global front, the DAX and the London FTSE made new all-time highs last week, confirmed by the Amsterdam AEX and Zurich SMI. In Asia and the Pacific Rim, the Australian ASX made a double top on Friday to its all-time high recorded the week before. The Hang Seng of Hong Kong and Shanghai SSE were also bullish, whereas prices were range-bound in the Nikkei and Nifty indices. In other markets, crude oil dropped to the $70 area on Friday, down 3 weeks after a crest on January 15th at $79.39. Bitcoin put in a trading cycle low at 91,439 on February 3rd, testing its major cycle low of 89,613 back on January 13th. Ethereum, on the other hand, fell to $24.15 last Monday, its lowest price in 3 months and a possible intermediate-term cycle trough. Now, the short-term Geocosmics, an article from Friday's Bloomberg. The market is trying to predict and trade off a very unpredictable situation and person. You could look like a hero 1 minute, only for the market to turn on a sixpence, and you look like a zero the next. Ray says the market volatility, along with the geopolitical uncertainty and disruptions, may not let up next week. We are still under the spell of retrograde chaos, and Wednesday finds a full moon mixed with a fixed T-square with Uranus. And Mercury makes that same T-square with Uranus on Monday, so the week is likely to start off with more bombshells, figuratively speaking. Financial markets may be caught by surprise, leading to sudden and sharp price fluctuations both ways. This is not a favorable market for those who are not nimble. Market analysts may be more wrong than right in their calls. Our strategy, then, will be to continue to buy all sharp declines and taking profits on sharp rallies that follow in 1 to 8 days. This is a favorable market climate for aggressive short-term traders, but requires patience for more longer-term position types. There is still a trend, but no longer any straight lines with modest corrections. Now, some longer-term thoughts from Dr. Paul Donovan from UBS Morning Audio comment on February 4th. He said to his team, the long-term consequences of tariffs remain. Foreign countries have less reason to trust that the U.S. will honor trade treaties, reducing the incentive to make concessions, end quote. And from Dr. Christoph Niederweiser, oft quoted in the Forecast 2025 book and in Ray's other articles, he says, crisis is the new normal, end quote. Now Ray's longer-term thoughts. The onslaught of so many sudden changes is getting exhausting already. Yet this is precisely the nature of retrograde chaos, which we are experiencing from November 25th, 2024 through April 12th, 2025. Through all of these start, stop, restart, stop again, retrograde interruptions, We must keep our focus on the long-term cycles and trends, ready to enter when sudden and sharp declines erupt. This cycle was discussed in the January 26th MMAcycles.com webinar, What the Bleep is Happening, and will be updated in our February 16th annual forecast webinar. Information on both of those is available at MMAcycles.com. Tied into the collective psychology of this quote-unquote new era period of 2020 to 2032 is the common misunderstanding of what people really want. Every candidate for government campaigns on the promise of change, quote-unquote, as if that's what the people really want. But they don't want change solely for the sake of change. I believe most people really want stability. They want government to make a change that leads to stability, so that they can make plans without surprises from disruptive government interventions to those plans, despite the false claim that they, the leaders, have a mandate to do just that. But more realistically, the populace does not want a system that too frequently changes laws, tax codes, voting districts, voting rules, culture, traditions, customs, foreign policies, treaties, and agreements with trading partners and allies. The change most people want is for a stable system they can rely on for the purpose of personal planning for years, not months. Just as Democrats misread this over the past 4 years, Republicans may be doing the same now that they are in power. Change that does not also provide stability is not the ticket for support. Yet, stability is not likely to happen as we enter the Aries vortex of 2025 to 27, and probably not very evident before we come out of the first stage of the new era, AIRA, of 2020 through 2032. Thus, one must find ways to anticipate and then embrace the concept of change, in the hope that eventually it will lead to stability and allow for success and security based on well-thought-out planning. Understanding the unfolding that is taking place in the macrocosm, the geocosmics, can be very valuable. That is, all of the outer planets in the solar system are changing signs from late 2024 through early 2026. Something that has not happened in 300 years, and before that, another 300 years. Our current world leaders, and those to come in the next 1 to 2 years, are agents of that change, whether due to their direct decision-making or reactions to those decisions that cause the pendulum to keep swinging back and forth until it finally finds its sweet spot of balance. Right now, that sweet spot seems to be far away as the pendulum swings back and forth at extremes in 2025 and 2026, the Aries vortex. In turn, the equity markets are apt to fluctuate wildly with more than one 10% or greater sell-off, which is something that has not happened since the last quarter of 2022. We'll be watching for one coming up shortly. And I'll tell you, whether you're saving for your kids' college funds or you're saving for retirement or just trying to stick away some extra money right now in these conditions, that right there is valuable information. Thank you so much, Ray, and thank you for listening. Hope you enjoy this weekend. Go out and get some fresh air. I hope that you have the weather to accommodate that, and I will see you back on Monday. Have a great rest of the weekend, everybody.